Okay, welcome back. So now that we've looked at the equation of a circle and kind of how do we graph it, right? This is our equation here, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Okay, so we've looked at that. Let's look at an example where we want to sketch a graph of a circle that the equation isn't quite in this form, this nice form that we have here. How do we go about graphing our circle in that case? Well, I have an example here. We've got x squared plus y squared minus 2x minus 6y minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, and I want to sketch a graph of it and find the center and radius. Okay. Well, how you're going to do this is you want to be able to write this equation that we have right here. We want to write it like this. We want to write it as x minus a number squared or plus a number squared, and then plus y minus another number squared is equal to some other number on the other side. Okay, that's what we want to get it to look like. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to put my x's together. So I have x squared minus 2x, and then I'm going to have y squared minus 6y. Okay. And then I am going to move that number, this 5, just over to the other side because I don't really want it over there with everything else. I'm just going to move that over for now because I don't want to deal with it. So we get this is equal to 5, okay? And let me actually, I'm going to leave some space there just for a sec. It's equal to 5, okay? So this is our rewritten equation right there, okay? So I've left some space here intentionally, and you'll see why that is in a sec. But what I want to do here is I want to rewrite this right here, this x squared minus 2x. Those are all the x's in the equation. I want to rewrite it like something like this, like x minus some number squared. Okay? Well, if you remember back from when we learned completing the square, there is a way that we do that, right? We can figure out what square is really close to this expression here, and then add in a number to make it exactly right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, what square is really close to this quadratic right here? Well, it's x with something squared, right? And the thing that it's close to is, remember, you take this number right here, the negative 2, and you're going to divide that by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So I'm going to put a minus 1 there. That should be the square that is really close to this x squared minus 2x. And we can see that if we were to distribute this out, I would get x squared, and then I'm going to get a negative x from these two timesing by each other, but I'm going to get that twice, so I'm going to get negative 2x, and then plus 1 here, right? Negative 1 times negative 1 would give me plus 1 there on the outside. So that would be the square that's really close to this. So what I'm going to do to this equation is I'm going to add a 1 right there. But I can't just add a 1 to one side of the equation. I've also got to add it on the other side of the equation to make it work. Okay. So what did I do? I figured out what square was really close to these two, and then added a number in to make it the perfect square. Okay. So let's do that again with y, because we need to have the same thing happen for y, right? So let's go ahead and do it for y now. I'm going to just look at these two now, and I'm going to go down here. What perfect square is close to y squared minus 6y? Well, it's going to be y with something squared. what number should we put in here? Well, divide negative 6 by 2. So it's going to be negative 3. Okay. What happens when we distribute that out? We get y squared. We're going to get 2 of the negative 3y's. So we get negative 6y. And then negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Okay. So this square here, y minus 3 squared, is very close to y squared minus 6y. You'll notice it's right here, right? So I just need to add 9 in to make it a perfect square. So I'm going to add in a 9 right here, but I also have to add the 9 on the other side so that I didn't change the equation. Well, notice since I've done that, since I've added a 1 here and a 9 here and then done the same thing on the other side, it's made it so that I now have a perfect square on both of these x's and y's that I can turn into the regular form of a equation for a circle. So you'll notice once I add this 1 right here, this whole expression becomes x minus 1 squared. So it's x minus 1 squared plus this expression here, y squared minus 6y plus 9, that's the same as this, is going to be y minus 3 squared. And then this is equal to, we just add these all together, so we do 1 plus 9 is 10, and then plus 5 is 15 here. Okay? So this would be our equation of the circle that's in the form that we're used to dealing with, right? We now have it in a way that we're used to seeing, okay? So this is really important. We need to get to this. If it's not in this form, that's the first thing we need to do when we're solving problems like this, is get it to look like that form, okay? Well, we're not quite done yet. So we wanted to find the center of the circle and the radius. So the center of our circle, remember we take these numbers and switch the signs. So it's going to be at 1 and 3. And then the radius in this case, you take this number here and take the square root. So it's going to be the square root of 15. Okay? So that's our center and radius of this circle. Okay? So what is this going to look like as we sketch a graph of it? Well, let's see. Before I do that, I do want to figure out what the square root of 15 is as a decimal so that I kind of know, so that I can kind of estimate what the graph is. This is about 3.87, it looks like. Okay. And so, what is the graph of my circle going to look like? Well, the center's at 1 and 3, so we're right there. That's our center. Okay, and then the radius is almost 4, 3.8. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4 out, and then just a little less than that in all directions, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, a little less than 4 out that way, and then so on. So this is going to go off the graph. It's going to be somewhere up there. And then we also go 1, 2, 3, 4. So a little less than that is over there. So our graph is going to look something like this. Beautiful circle, right? Very beautiful circle. So that would be the equation of this graph. Okay? That would be the graph of this circle. Okay? So what you have to do when the equation isn't in a nice form, like the one we're used to, Well, we have to convert it to that form, which basically involves completing the square 2 times so that you can get your answer. Okay? Cool. So I will see you in the next video.